Before there were formal models, before peer review, before anyone spoke about cognitive bias or systems failure, there was a familiar problem. The world moved faster than understanding. Decisions were made before evidence finished arriving. Conclusions formed before causes were fully traced. And once certainty settled in, systems stopped listening. History is full of the results. The Challenger disaster did not happen because engineers lacked data. They warned that the O-rings would fail in cold temperatures, but management needed certainty. Schedules needed relief. So uncertainty was treated as noise. Chernobyl did not melt down because physics was unknown. Warnings existed. But authority collapsed complexity into confidence, and confidence replaced caution. The Iraq WMD intelligence failure did not come from missing information. It came from early narratives hardening into inevitability. Contradictions were sidelined. Dissent became disloyalty. Relief arrived before verification. These are not moral failures. They are timing failures. There have always been people inside these systems who experienced the moment differently. Not because they were smarter, not because they had special insight, but because they tracked structure instead of conclusions. Richard Feynman did not expose the Challenger failure by belief. He did it by refusing to let certainty close the case. He slowed the moment. He made assumptions visible. He showed what had been ignored. This pattern repeats across disciplines. In medicine, early diagnosis hardening and alternative explanations disappear. In policing, initial theories bias evidence collection. In science, dominant paradigms resist anomalies until collapse forces revision. Thomas Kuhn described this not as progress, but as normal science protecting itself until it can't. Most minds move sequentially, one explanation, then another, then a decision. This is efficient. It allows daily life to function, but some minds operate in parallel. They hold competing explanations simultaneously. They track how fear, authority, incentive, and timing interact. They notice when questioning becomes dangerous, not because it is wrong, but because it is late. This is not belief. It is simulation. It is the same mental process used in failure analysis, red team testing, and adversarial modeling, but applied before collapse instead of after. And once you can see that structure, certainty becomes dangerous, because certainty ends motion. When a narrative hardens, alternatives disappear. When authority commits, revision becomes costly. When relief arrives, systems stop updating. Fast-track mineralysis exists to intervene before that point. FTM is not a truth engine. It does not predict outcomes. It does not replace judgment. It is a coherence and delay framework. It does what postmortems do, but earlier. It forces assumptions into the open. It preserves alternative explanations long enough to test them. It separates evidence from interpretation. It delays irreversible decisions until consequences are clearer. This is not indecision. It is the discipline that prevents error from becoming catastrophe. If theory of mind describes the ability to recognize that others have perspectives, FTM operates beyond that by keeping multiple perspectives active at the same time, long enough to stress test them against reality. FTM exists because modern systems move faster than human correction mechanisms. Decisions now lock instantly. They propagate globally, and damage occurs before feedback can arrive. So the most valuable intervention is not prediction. It is restraint at the moment certainty appears. FTM asks the same questions every major failure asked too late. What stopped being considered? Who lost the ability to speak? Which assumption hardened first? What became irreversible before it needed to? If you have ever looked back and said, "We should have waited," there were signs. Once we committed, everything narrowed. Then you already recognize the pattern. FTM does not ask for belief, it asks for patience, because the future is not taken. It is narrowed, and narrowing is always a choice.